Hello everyone, I am Andrew Dornan, also known as the 12th Kind here on YouTube, and today is another episode of Weekly Video Challenges. Today is a bit different, it's unscripted. First of all, I have a script for a weekly video challenge that was supposed to be this week's challenge, but it wasn't coming together nicely, and so I'm just putting it on the back burner for hopefully next week, maybe the week after, if I have energy to do scripted content again. But if you've noticed from today's title, you may notice that it's something about Pokemon. If you just saw Pokemon in the title, this is a particular Turtwig I call Bonsai, and he sits on my desk, and when I feel stressed out, I give him a hug. Turtwig's cute. But today is actually why the third generation of Pokemon games, Ruby, Emerald, and Sapphire, are my favorite. Like, I absolutely love those games. And in fact, if I go back here, there's a cart down here with all my video games in it. Aha! The other day, I went up to Houston, and my dad got me this from GameStop, because we were in there, and he was like, "Hey, if you want something, I'll get it for you." And I was like, "Cool." And I found that, and I was like, you know what? I really like Gen 3, and I want to play it. Gen 3 has a very bitter, Gen 3 and also the Gen 3 remake hold very special places in my heart, because Gen 3 was my first ever Pokemon game, and growing up I always really enjoyed jazz instruments. You couldn't really tell from my music taste that I listened to a lot of rock and roll, indie. I listened to everything, but I reserve jazz for more, when I'm in between projects for the day. I just need a moment to relax. Then I put on some jazz, and I really like the soundtrack of Generation 3. Because it's just going through it, even as a kid, it was a lot of fun. There were some challenges, because kid playing Pokemon, of course there's going to be challenges, but then just going through it was fun. I got it when I was in the swim team way back when, so I have the memories of going to tournaments and hanging out with friends, as well as playing Pokemon. Not necessarily with them, because not all my friends had Pokemon, but it was always fun to be like, oh, look at how much I progressed the last time we saw each other or whatever. But yeah, it was one of those things where it holds a lot of fond memories. But this is where the bitter part comes in. This past March, around March 3rd, let's say a tragic event happened. And the following Thursday was, the last day of classes before spring break. And that morning, before I went to my statistics class, I looked on iTunes for some Pokemon music that I could listen to while I would be driving home, to try to have some nostalgia and try not to be upset by the thing that just happened a few days prior. And I found the complete soundtrack of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And so I bought it. It was I want to say $10, $15, and I bought the entire album, and I listened to it throughout the day, And when I got in the car, I put that on blast, and I did the 4-hour drive home. And the playlist, because of how it was every single song and like little tune, like victory tune or whatever, item get tune, it lasted me the whole 4-hour drive. I think it may have restarted once, and it was towards like the end of my drive when I had just gotten into town, and it just kind of felt fitting. And it was one of those things that I just kind of kept listening to it throughout, all of it. And I really resonated with the final song that plays at the end, called "The End," because things were changing, and it was honestly the end of an era, and so that song really fit. And so that's like the main reason why I absolutely love Gen 3 is the music. I keep going on around the music because as of recently, the music has been, the major sticking point as to why I love Gen 3 so much. And so, it's that, and then also the Pokemon, here's the thing. When it comes to every single Pokemon generation, I always tend to go water starter. So, Squirtle, Totodile, Asterix. I haven't really played Gold and Silver and Crystal, but if I did, I know for a fact I would choose Totodile. The only exception to this rule is I want to say Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, because as you can see, I have a Turtwig plush, and between Turtwig and Piplup, I'm pretty 50-50. I could go either way, and sometimes it's you place a donkey between two equally spaced bales of hay, and it just stands there starving. That's not necessarily what happens when trying to pick between those two, but that's kind of what happens. I'm getting sidetracked. But yeah, so I fell in love with Mudkip. It was favorite Pokemon. I also really love the legendaries: Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, or Rayquaza, depending on who you ask. I've always said Rayquaza, and I think to this day Rayquaza is my favorite legendary Pokemon of all time, and Mudkip's my favorite starter Pokemon of all time. And just Gen 3 as a whole, the pacing, IGN was 7 point out of 10, too much water, and it was okay, fine, whatevs. But I really enjoyed it. As someone who actually loves being in the water, I love swimming. As you couldn't tell by the fact that I mentioned I was on the swim team when I was younger. Then the whole there's so much water really resonated with me, because I really enjoyed that. And I really liked the story. When it came to deciding between the two factions, I think if I had a choice between Team Magma and Team Aqua, I would go Team Aqua for multiple reasons that you could already have guessed based off of what we just talked about. But yeah, the soundtrack, the characters, the Gen 3 Pokemon I all really enjoyed. The Makuhita line, Mudkip line. As someone who doesn't like fire types, I really think, I genuinely think that the Torchic, just Torchic, not the rest. Torchic is a really neat design, and this is coming from someone who doesn't like fire types. I will use them if I have to, for an ice gym or whatever. But yeah, so it's one of those things where there's so many reasons, and I really don't want to take up too much of your time, because we're already at around 10 minutes, and I'm just kind of babbling on. But there's just so many reasons why I love the third generation Pokemon games, and I've noticed that every year or so people bash on another gen, and I just kind of don't get that. Like, yeah, every gen has, you know, like some things that aren't necessarily the best, but I don't think that's any reason to like hate a particular gen. Like, I don't think I hate any particular generation of Pokemon. X and Y was okay. I haven't played the Black and White games, Black, White, Black 2, Black, White 2, or whatever. I haven't played those two. And I also haven't played second gen. But as far as like all the other gens that I've played, the one that I didn't like as much as the rest was, you know, X and Y. And I think it was just because I had been consistently playing Gen 3 and Gen 4, and there was a long period of time where I didn't really play either, and so I was kind of out of the loop for Pokemon. And then a couple of my friends pitched together to give me X and Y, and it was okay. The story was okay. Pokemon designs were neat, which, you know, Pokemon designs is another reason why I like Gen 3. There's just, I'm rambling at this point, but like I think you get the picture of, you know, why I love Gen 3 so much. Is, you know, there's a lot of childhood memories and a lot of bittersweet moments from this year, and just playing through Alpha Sapphire right now has definitely been a lot of fun and kind of calming in a way. And I really like I thought at the start it was kind of a bold move that they gave you the Pokénav at the start, but then as like they added a couple more features right away, it made sense, because it was, you know, one of the things is like the Dex Nav or whatever, and it tells you all like the Pokemon that you've caught in an area and tells you whether or not the area is complete, which I actually really appreciated. And I think this is going to be the first ever Pokemon game that I get every single last Pokemon. But yeah, those are my thoughts, my very complicated, rambly thoughts on Pokemon Gen 3, Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire, and then also Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. That's just kind of how, if that makes sense to you guys, why I like it so much, because it's complicated. Even I can't keep everything in line into a verbal fashion. There's just so many emotions for me tied to this generation. But that's going to be it for this video. It's a little unscripted, a little messy, as you can tell by like the blinding light in the background and the fact that I'm using a different camera and a different setup. I actually am using my phone right above my laptop. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Let me know what your favorite generation of Pokemon games are in the comments down below, and let me know if there's a specific Pokemon game that you really enjoy. And maybe we can have a conversation on, you know, why we like the generations that we like. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I try to make videos every single day. It is a long and stressful process, but it's, you know, what I've got. The fruits of my labor is this channel, and I'm pretty happy that I'm able to keep that schedule up. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow is weekly roundups and a different kind of video than I normally do. So stick around for that popping up sometime tomorrow, and then weekly roundup comes up at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time for some more. Well, I guess after weekly roundup it should be Let's Play Metroid Fusion. So I'll see you tomorrow for weekly roundup and Monday for Metroid Fusion. All right, see you guys then. Bye bye.